This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, July 1st meeting of the Monmouth City Council. We will start with the roll call, please. Pam, our interim city recorder or acting city recorder or something.
Councillor Belts.
Here.
Councillor Carey.
Here.
Councillor Lopez.
Present.
Councillor McKeel.
Here.
Councillor Oberst.
Yes.
Councillor Ridgway.
Here.
Mayor Coons.
Present. And Councillor Carey, would you lead us in the flag salute this evening? The consent calendar tonight was full of our minutes of the meeting of June 17th. Any additions, corrections, or we'll just move and approve and move on?
I will move and approve the consent calendar.
Thanks, Councillor McKeel for the motion and Councillor Carey for the second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? So you can enter us unanimously. That brings us to public comment this evening, where we would entertain comments from the public. I'm seeing shaking heads. No one has submitted this evening or in advance, so we will move right on to a presentation this evening from the Monmouth Independence Chamber of Commerce Visitor Center. Yes, and you'll press the, well, Melanie knows what to do. Press the front there, and the red light means you're on. But we'll ask you to both get kind of close enough so that they can hear online.
Awesome. Okay. I think it's good. It's echoing. So, hi, I'm Mackenzie. I'm with the Monmouth Independence Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center. I know most of you. I haven't met you. Hi. But I know the rest of you, so I'm really happy to be here today. So as you guys know, the City of Monmouth provides $5,000 for Visitor Center works through Forest. So we provide 2 oral reports a year, so this is one of them. I did provide you guys with our new visitors guide, and then inside of that, there's like a little staple packet that we put together. That was just a report that I provided to the City of Monmouth, just so you guys know some numbers, see what we've been up to for the past 6 months. Basically, we are just redid our visitors guide, which you all have. I love it. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I feel like it really highlights our community a lot better than what we have previously had. With this new edition, basically has more of the visitor guide feel. So it has itineraries, things to do in our area, events for the year. There's more than just listed businesses. One new thing that I really liked was how much space we did give to both cities for highlighting on yourselves. We worked with the city team to get information in there about what they would like to see in our visitors guides. We also, for Monmouth specifically, we did the cover photo showcasing downtown Monmouth, trying to highlight what's in our community. And then yeah, we really just had that community focus in our visitors guide. So that's just something that we just did. We've been working on some digital marketing, such as like online presence. We've been sharing city events just happening in our community to encourage people to come and see what's going on. You know, we've been sharing about things happening at Western, as well as like things like the AAPI market, the Cultural Harvest Collective markets, Monmouth Has Pride, all of those really great events that we put on. We've been making sure that they get out in our communities and going to outside of our community so that tourists. Along with that, we have our website. We have been updating with downloadable guides, up-to-date events, all the things that we can be doing in our community. We also are actively involved with local and regional partners, including the Dallas Area Chamber of Commerce, MBA, Independent Downtown Association, Travel Oregon, some of these other places to get the word out about our community. We are also in the very early stages for Polk County tourism accessibility. So we're working with the Dallas Chamber on potentially some grant dollars and working with a consultant right now for looking at accessibility for our businesses. So we can look at wheelchair accessibility and more in that area. We are working with a really great consultant that's been used by Travel Oregon a lot. So we got that through a grant from when I went up to the tourism conference in this last April. So we have 5 hours with her, and she's helping make a checklist and some next steps on how to increase accessibility for tourism industry. With our visitors guides, we are targeting 12 new centers to expand into. So across Washington, Idaho, and Oregon. Some include Portland, Redmond, some other areas outside of that 50-mile radius so that we can get people to see us and come visit us. Let's see, what else? We have been dispersing our visitors guides. They came out last month on the 11th of June. And those were launched, and we already have 1,500 of them dispersed. So it's really great. So I'm very excited about that. And we're also doing a new thing, which we're making so people can order visitors guides online. And so since launch date, we have sent out 15 to out of community. So those are places in Washington, Idaho, and Virginia, as well as some just more local in Oregon. So like Canyonville, I don't know where that is, but we sent one there. So yeah. So so we're just getting out there a bit more. We have some more goals on some destination marketing opportunities. We're looking at some grants for applying for at the end of summer and in the fall. So what we can do to promote some of our more events and things that happen in our community to try to get more visualization. We also are, just to kind of look forward, because I do want to share, we do have a few events that are coming up this summer, such as we do a taste tour. So it's kind of like a little restaurant tour. We do get people. Last summer we got, I think it was 10 people from out of that 50-mile radius that came for it. And that's just 10 businesses or more that offer samples to these people that come. We're doing Good Morning Polk County. It is a networking event, but it is being also marketed because we are having our legislative representatives. We're having Paul Evans and Anna Scharf coming and doing a presentation. We've already had some people RSVP from Portland area for that. So it's considered a tourism event now. Yay. And then we are having our Golden Gala, which is in August, and that is going to be a fun evening that is targeted for some mental health celebration of our community, as well as it is a tourism driven event, as we've already had people from Portland buy tickets as well. So that's a little bit. And then on the very back, you also see just like a quick glance, because I do like quick glances. This is a lot of words. So you can just see a few things that we do just in bullet point format. So that's my little spiel. So do you have any questions for me?
Questions or comments from Mackenzie Carroll?
Next year when you do this is a wonderful, by the way, I love including all the events. You can add Juneteenth next time, because we had a fantastic party in the park.
That was awesome. I did go down there. Yes. We got the visual out and heard about it after we already had made the calendar part.
I figured that.
Yeah.
So, and this was the first year that we did the Juneteenth, and so actually I was kind of a little worried how good it would turn out, and we definitely is something we'll be doing again. So
yeah,
we'll just add Juneteenth next time.
Yes, we will.
Councilor Lopez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you very much for the presentation. It's wonderful to see you, and it is wonderful to see all the wonderful work that you and the Chamber do in our communities. A lot of this work is uniting work, right? The Monmouth Independence Chamber of Commerce. And I personally love that. I know that pre-COVID, the Chamber used to host in partnership with WU, candidate forums, and likely COVID got in the way of everything. We all had to re-envision our worlds. Now that we've come out the other end to a large extent, is there any chance that the Chamber might take an active role in that in the future?
Yeah, so we're actually we are just started going through an advocacy policy within the chamber, and one thing that we did this last what's that called? Election. There we go. That's the word I'm trying to say. In May, we did a collaborative event with the Dallas Chamber, and we called it Levy Night, and so it was just some information about bond measures, and that was kind of like the first step in that way. We're very open to doing that. That is actually part of our strategic plan for education and advocacy within our community. So I think we can definitely talk more about that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. It's great news.
Yeah.
Counselor Care.
Thank you for the work and thank you for the presentation tonight. A couple of questions I have. Well, one question really. Talk to me about how you articulate with the university and especially the events that they have on that campus, and how do we use that as a potential tourism opportunity?
Yeah. So I'm actually starting to work with Western a lot more. I was starting to work closely with their events coordinator there, who she just moved over to admissions actually. And so we're actually starting to provide visitors guides for people who are coming in for the admission tours, which is amazing. We haven't done that before. That's a new opportunity that we started because we did notice that vice versa. I was talking with them very candidly that a lot of people come into Monmouth and won't go into campus, or a lot of people go into Monmouth or the campus and won't come into Monmouth, and so there's not so a bunch of talking there in that way. So we're trying to work together more on those opportunities. I've been going and doing more tabling there as well, which has been really great. We went to the block party. We have been invited to when they do the new student week, when students are actually unloading and going into their dorms and everything, having a table there so that we can provide information to all these people who are in our area. We also are starting to get more looks into what is coming to campus so that we can actually advertise to them what opportunities we have in the community. And that's definitely something I'm also starting to talk to them a little bit more seriously about is when we look at marketing our community and looking at tourism and everything, we have a beautiful campus right here. So how do we get people to come hang out, walk the beautiful campus, and really market that really great history that we also have that's right there? So yeah, we're definitely working on that.
One of the things that I would suggest you consider would be to get a link to your visitor center, visitor guide on some of the key web pages of the university, and intercollegiate athletics would be one.
Yeah.
We have teams coming in, from August until May, and often they have, parents or friends that are interested in coming, and so they want to come to the game primarily, but they may also be interested in where they can get a bite to eat as they plan, where the team is staying. And the visiting teams typically stay in Independence, and so that would be information and linkage
I love
there.
I love that idea. That's really a great idea, actually. I didn't think about that. I do know that we are targeting trying to work more with our athletics area, and I think that could be a really great in for that. Thank you for that idea.
Yeah, but because you're going to have people coming, let's direct them where we'd like them to go.
Right.
So they don't go back to Salem.
Yes.
I would also suggest that you articulate with the Smith Fine Arts series and the theater and dance and music departments, because they have a variety of activities as well that parents and friends and people that are appreciative of what they do will be here.
Yes, we're targeting them as well. Actually, the program manager for Smith Fine Arts Series just joined our board, so I'm sure she will have some ideas around that.
Well, but minimally, like I can think on the athletics page, for example, a visitor's guide button. Click that, and this is where, the official hotel of the GNAC is, teams will be staying, and then all of the information that you have.
Yeah, I love that. I'll definitely reach out to Maureen over at Woo Woo, runs their PR department and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Chat with her.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Thank you.
To me, it's low hanging fruit. I'm not sure how much fruit you'll get, but it's where you would like to be harvesting.
I love that idea. Thank you.
As it were.
Counselor Ridgway.
Thank you. Great information. I've kind of going off of what Councilor Care was talking about and looking into what Western has to offer, since it's a unique, having a college college campus on within the city. Adds other complexities, some good, some not as good. But in this case, I think there's a lot that we can draw from the university. Some of your information on here that stood out to me was the digital reach, the demographics, and how Instagram has shot way up 490% greater than last year's reach. And some other stats that were interesting. One that jumped out at me though was the gap between the women and men being reached, I suppose. And I'm wondering if there's been conversations of how to engage men who also spend money potentially in our community to draw them in and reach out to things that are interesting. In comparison.
Yeah, definitely. That's actually something we've been talking about. We have a contract resource development person, and we were talking about that recently because we have networking events every month. We have 3 of them on average, and one of them we had out at Ash Creek Auto Class, and it was really interesting because a few days before we had one out at a winery, completely different demographics. Like one was more like drinking beer, guys were like still in their dirty clothes, and then the other one was like, oh, like, more women and like looking at that. And it was really interesting because we want to target all demographics in our community, all business owners in our community, as well as all people who live here or want to visit here. What's really interesting about that is this is all organic. So we didn't do any paid advertising or anything out of this. This is all organic. So that's really interesting to us as well, trying to see like, okay, so this is our organic reach. Do we want to try doing a campaign or something to target a different demographic and that might come and visit us and see us? So yeah. Sure.
I didn't have any specific ideas.
No,
but just
I don't either.
That was a conversation that was ongoing. Yeah. About half the population, I would like to see a bigger chunk of them reached and know about Monmouth and what we have to offer here. So, but great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Over.
So, as Councilor Lopez noted, you all serve both communities. It's a piece of community lore, and I wondered if you are aware of how you became the Monmouth Independence Chamber instead of the Independence Monmouth Chamber. And when the chamber was first formed, there was a meeting, and in the parking lot was held a coin toss.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know whether Scott MacArthur called heads or tails, but regardless, he won the toss, and it became the Monmouth Independence Chamber. And that formulation of Monmouth coming first is sort of stuck around in some other things in the community too. In the naming, it's just, I guess it's become convention at this point. But I think that was probably the initial joint name, and it came down to a coin toss. So it's a piece of community lore that will slowly fade away if it is repeated from time to time.
I love that, and I think that's fun because I feel like from working this position, I feel like, this chamber, we try to be equal to both of our cities, and we try to represent both of our cities in a positive manner. So I'm sure that right now I would have been like, looked at my board and been like, I don't know what to do. Why don't we flip a coin? Like, and somebody did it. So that's awesome.
All right. I think that's all we have.
Thank you all so much. I really
Thank
appreciate
you
your time.
for bringing this and talking about all the work you're doing. It's quite amazing. And that brings us to our first order of business, which is in conjunction with the Visitor Center. So I will invite Phyllis Bowman, our Arts and Culture liaison and our Arts and Culture chair, who can stay where she was, talk about the next round of artwork on MyNet utility boxes.
Mayor and Council, we're here for the third round of presenting you with MyNet boxes that the Chamber would like to paint again. It was approved by the Arts and Culture Commission at their June 19th meeting, and you have before you all the samples and the ones that they would like to choose to paint. Any questions?
Yes, go ahead, Councilor Carey.
They look nice, all of them. But a couple questions on process. Um, and it was unclear, it wasn't really spelled out in the staff report, but how do you request submissions? How does the word get out that you're doing this?
I
So
believe
how does anybody know to submit?
the chamber puts out a call for artists, is that right?
Mhm.
And then the artists submit their artwork to a committee at the chamber. Okay.
Sure.
And and once they do that, then they have to bring it to the Arts and Culture Commission for
Right.
approval before we bring it to you.
Sure, sure. Do we target any artists? It's just a blanket cattle call.
It is an open call for local artists.
Do the successful artists, do they receive an honorarium of some sort, or is it?
At this point, they don't. Then they did not last year. This is, like we said, the second round. In the future, yeah, the chamber absolutely, and the Monmouth Arts and Culture Commission hope to do that as well, because the artists should be compensated for their time, but at this point, it hasn't been able to happen.
You know, minimally, and I was thinking about how you might do that. I mean, it's a low cost, no cost sort of thing, and maybe we do this, but because this is our second round, we've got artwork in the community that we could attribute to the artist. If we have a listing of that it could be posted, you know, like the MyNet boxes, you know, and such, and look for it on, you know, Olive Way and High Street, and you know, Phyllis Bowman's art is there. It was selected in, you know, 2024. You know, some sort of a recognition and acknowledgement beyond the attic boy or attic girl that they get from that.
So Mackenzie says they're working on it on their website.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
it is a
good.
chamber, you know, it's initiates with the chamber.
Good. And how do you distribute between Independence and Monmouth?
Depends on how many boxes are in Independence or Monmouth.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
It depends on how many MyNet cabinets actually exist in the city. I don't know how they choose which art will go in which one.
Yeah.
You
We-
work on that, right?
Yeah, we met, Emily, Mackenzie, and I met previously to go over initial calls for the art for the second round, and then what the process was, because Mackenzie hadn't been here last year when it had been gone through beforehand. And so she informed us that there were potentially 3 to 4 boxes available in Monmouth and approximately the same number available in Independence. And they would do a jury collected with their group at the chamber, and they would see where the artists live. We would like to obviously focus on Monmouth artists, but not exclusivity, because we are a blended community. So I requested that when she put the proposal of the pictures through, that she just stated their relative living and or with a couple of artists, they work here. And so they don't live here, but they're here every day because they're part of the community in that way. And so that was all the information we got. We got no names, any of the other kind of information. So it was just based on artistic merit, what we thought would go. And with where the 4 boxes were, we did make recommendations for what we thought might be appropriate in those areas. All of them would be appropriate anywhere, but there were a couple, like on the kids' walk, that we thought, you know, the octopus would look really great actually across from the park because it would be really bright. There were a couple of different things like that that we took into account and made our recommendations, but it's up to the chamber for final decision on placement. We're looking to have you approve the 4 designs that we chose.
Sounds like you've got a good process, and one that is thoughtful and intentional as you go through. You know, and I'm the only piece of art that I'm would ask about is design number 7, which is the Kalapuya land one that apparently isn't quite finished yet in terms of the detail on that. And the only, it looks wonderful. I think it's going to be marvelous. I guess I'm wondering why you're starting on the back. You're starting on the back panel is where the Cala Poo
Oh, yeah,
starts. and then
that
the
would
li-
be addressed, that it would be it on the front panel. I believe that was actually reversed
Okay.
on their thing. It would start, so it would be wrapped around on the most visible side.
Right.
And so it may end up wrapping a little bit around, depending upon the location.
Far be it from me to make any artistic suggestions, but I
No,
just
it's
wondered
all
about
these
that. I thought it was a
things, you
little
know.
odd.
People catch different things. We all look with our own eyes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the work.
Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you. Seeing none, because we have set up a process whereby we take recommendations from the Arts and Culture Commission on that. There is a motion in your packet.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the Minnet cabinet mural designs as presented.
I'll
Second.
second.
Thank you, Councillor Lopez for the motion and Councillor Ridgway Belts for the second. Yeah. Oh, was it? Okay, Carol. All right, we'll give it to Ridgway then. All right, and all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Excited to see another round go in. It's been fun to watch these go up for sure.
Thank you for your work with this. It's really nice.
And I thought it was the visitor center that got the original grant for these rather than the actual chamber. Or is that? Yeah, the visitor center is actually the sponsoring agency, not the. Oh, although there's a lot of crossover. All right, thank you, and thanks Melody, and thanks very much Mackenzie. So that brings us to our second business item tonight, which is not nearly as joyful and fun to talk about necessarily, but extremely good product here, and that is moving forward with our economic opportunity analysis. So our community planner, Carter Craig.
Hello, yes, I'm Carter, the community planner, and I'm here to present on the first reading of the ordinance which would adopt the EOA that we've been discussing. This is kind of the last stop on a fairly long process that we started last summer. So this is the ordinance that would amend the sections of the comp plan that are affected by the EOA, incorporate the EOA's findings, as well as make some amendments to the zoning ordinance around commercial and industrial uses. That is all I have to say. We've talked a lot, but I'm happy to answer any questions that may still be remaining about the ordinance. The ordinance has been reviewed by council.
Any considerations, anything you thought of since the last meeting that we have to absolutely get in here? Councillor Carey.
No, I haven't thought of anything new, but other than the significance of it. And when we get to it, we need to have, we all talk about economic growth and we'd like to expand our economic base here. And in order to do that, you have to have a plan. You got to have something that's invested in or that is employs data in order to move this forward, give Carter something to do, to give Suzanne something to do. This gives them a roadmap to follow. Now, to that point, if you look in Exhibit A, there are 32 goals, economic goals. And as I was reading those, I get about 25 and I'm saying, that sounded like 15. And this is more related to, somewhere else. I wonder if rather than just a laundry list of those, if they could be grouped, clustered, in terms of recruitment, in terms of, I don't know, you would know the categories better than I, and then nest those under those general categories, because in terms of the reader, and you would it would be more usable if you could have those a little more focused, in my opinion. You do with it as you wish, but it just seems rather than a list of 32, we could maybe get them into 4 or 5 deals a little more concentrated. But anyway, my thoughts.
Counselor Hope.
So John, just for clarification's sake, you're thinking more of narrative and less of list.
The list would be fine.
Maybe both.
Perhaps both, but at least they're clustered. You know, if we're looking at employment land, identifying employment land, then what are those goals that speak to the acquisition of employment land or development of employment land? If it's business retention, let's get those goals sort of under that heading. I don't know. And you could have an intro to that perhaps, but it's something other than a list of 32, I guess was my thought.
I was envisioning narrative for purposes of easier to read for the first go, and then have the list as supporting the narrative version. But clustering works too.
I'm going to say I think the report as written is written. The consultants put it together. They wrote it. We've been through it a bunch of times, so I don't think the actual end result report can change much at this point, unfortunately. And we've passed it the way it is at the Planning Commission level, and we've had all we're discussing tonight's the ordinance to adopt it, not the layout of the plan.
And so maybe what John and I are really after is a separate piece that would be handed to a prospective incoming business that would be that summary narrative clustering of the 32 into fewer. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah. And as we get reports back, I'm sure there'll be more of that clumping. Okay. So I am going to, and seeing no objections to the information in front of us, I will conduct the first reading of ordinance number 1420, an ordinance adopting the City of Monmouth Economic Opportunities Analysis dated May 2025, amending Title 18 of the Monmouth City Code and the Comprehensive Plan relating to the zoning ordinance, land use, and economic elements, and repealing prior and conflicting ordinances. And we'll have a second reading and adoption at our next meeting. Thanks, Carter. That is all of our business this evening. So that brings me to my mayor's report, and don't have a lot, but we do have some board and commission action tonight. So I will move to that. And I'm trusting that our city manager will include in her report our sort of a wrap up of where we are after the legislative session, because that's something we were all scrambling and working on here for the last couple of weeks, trying to get all those things through. So I will move to reports of boards and commissions. Does anyone have something? Councillor Belson, Councillor McKeel.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm reporting on the Arts and Culture Commission, who met on June the 19th. A lot of what I'm going to say will sound very familiar. They discussed the Minot project and discussed what they were going to bring to council, which they brought to council. Secondarily, they discussed the artist exhibit that is now out in the lobby. They had a reception, which my husband and I attended. It was later in the month. It was fantastic. It was fairly light attended. However, the one of the two art instructors from Central High School was there, and she gave us an incredible in-depth amount of information about the individual pieces and the students. And so it was really informative, and I'm so excited about the next one. They're talking about, and the commission is talking about how they're going to decide if it will be a theme, if it will be invitation, how they're going to proceed with this, because it seems like it's just been very well received. And there was a reporter there who interviewed some folks, and he took some photos as well. And then lastly, I think you all know I'm the chair of the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments Board of Directors, and our executive director informed me on Friday that he has accepted a new position back home in North Carolina. And so he will be resigning. Currently, he's in Ireland on a 3-week vacation, 30th anniversary with his wife. So we let him go. But he'll be staying with the COG through mid-August. But stay tuned to hear more about that transition and how we will be handling that as an organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to report on the Monmouth Historic Commission meeting that was on June 24th. The commissioners are investigating a couple of cherry trees located in the new historic district on the west side of Monmouth to determine if the trees are descendants of the historic Waterhouse cherry trees. And so because I really didn't know much about this, I had to Google what is this Waterhouse cherry tree. And it was actually bred or found, so it's kind of, the jury is still out, by Warren Waterhouse, who lived in Monmouth in the late 1800s. And in fact, he received a certificate of inspection from the Oregon State Board of Horticulture commending him on his cherry crop because they lasted a long time while he was traveling, not in a car, right? And so he actually displayed his tree variety at the Portland World's Fair in 1905 and earned a couple of awards. So we have very famous Waterhouse cherry tree descendants here. I was told that they're probably not the originals because they don't last that long. I didn't know that. Also, you'll be excited to know that plans are already underway for the History and Mystery event that will be held on October 3rd. The New Horizons Orchestra is going to play again this year, and they are practicing songs that will accentuate the mysterious. Yeah, well, I was trying to think of something more, yeah, but it didn't work. Okay. So if folks are still interested in participating, there's still lots of roles available for them. And there is no mystery about the next meeting of the Historic Commission, which is on Tuesday, July 22nd at 6 p.m. right here.
I'll recognize Councillor Lopez and Councillor Oberst, and I'm very sad to know that History and Mystery will be at the same time as the League of Oregon Cities annual conference, and most of us will be there.
Let's ask the LOC to change it.
It's their 100th anniversary.
Yes, this is the 100th. Yeah.
That's really too bad because as I was mentioning, there are roles available. I was trying to make a little look at Councilor Lopez because I know he likes to do this. So that's sad. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, my dance card is full on that date. However, it is, if anyone out there is interested, it is one of the events that participating in it gives me the most joy each year. It is a storytelling event, and it definitely is the kickoff of the fall season in my heart. So I will be sad to miss it. I have a presentation tonight from the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance, on which I represent Monmouth. Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance met yesterday to approve their budget of $3,189,241.00. They pulled it down to the wire, but they got it in. We do have an approved budget and operating forward. Looking forward to some advances and some additional due diligence by our new executive director in the coming fiscal year. The next meeting of the Homeless Alliance will be next week on Thursday. At 3 p.m. That's at the COG building or virtually. In other news, at that meeting, the Homeless Alliance will be considering, amongst other things, adding Monmouth to their executive and finance committees. And so as Monmouth continues to be a pioneer in this work and in rural components of Polk and Marion counties, I'm excited to see our voice continue to hold further weight there through our regional initiatives. So I also have Next week, the library board will be meeting at 7 a.m. at the Monmouth Library. So it is a wonderful group of folks, and usually, although I hesitate making this promise, usually there's treats. So I encourage you all to wake up early, join the library board and myself, and kick off the day with a library board meeting.
Councillor Elvers.
Senior activity, or I'm sorry, senior advisory board met on the 24th. I was in Southern Oregon enjoying a concert that afternoon. Couldn't make it, sorry. Got a good report from the director, however. We have some new programming this month. There's a hiking club planning session on the 8th at 1 o'clock, and there's a therapy dog chat planned 10th at 10:30 in the morning. Yeah, the dog's amazing. No, it's just this one dog who offers therapy. So they also had some discussions around the signups for. We're going to have the senior float as typical, but we're also going to have the bus for people who don't want to ride in the heat. They'll be able to ride in the comfort on the bus. And of course, there's also the booth in the park, and I'm sure that Barbara would be more than happy to accept last-minute volunteers for any of those items. The Friends of the Senior Community Center bought 2 new tablecloths with the updated logos on to put on the tables at the booth in the park. We had a guest at the meeting, Kelly Hollums, who is interested in possibly joining the board. I don't know what the outcome of that is yet. And a topic was raised for the future, which is to talk to some of our local swimming pools about possible senior access to those pools, perhaps different than what they currently do. Next meeting will be on July 22nd at 3:30 in the afternoon at the Senior Center. Thanks.
Any others? Councillor Ridge.
Thank you. So this time of year, for the Parks and Rec Board, there's lots of things that are going on. We have a number of activities beginning in 2 days, on the 3rd and the 4th, beginning on Thursday the 3rd at noon in just across the street here at the Main Street Park. Lots of different activities. I won't list all of them, but that continues for almost 2 full days. And jumping after that, we have sorry, that was all for Independence Day. I didn't even mention that, but Independence Day, big celebration here in Monmouth and Independence, but we celebrate it big in Monmouth. And we also have Music in the Park that comes up, not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, 6:30, and those are every Wednesday throughout the summer until August 27th. So different musical performance each week. So please, even though you don't have to set your calendars for tomorrow, you have a week to plan, but be there for the Music in the Park series. There's lots of different types of music, so there's something for everyone. And it is free, good time, family friendly. There will be a beer garden, yes. Yes. Lots of different activities. Come check it out. But yes, this is the busy time of year for parks in Monmouth, especially at Main Street here. So we have that. We have a pickleball court that will be ribbon cutting ceremony on Friday, July 18th. So a great opportunity to, even if you don't play, show up, watch other people play, maybe catch some tips. There will be some experts and some not so expert people playing, and might be fun entertainment. So those are just a few things going on here in Monmouth, and things to look forward to in the next even couple of days. So that's what I have.
I also have a quick report from the MyNet board. The board met just last Wednesday, June 25th, and adopted their budget. So that was taken care of as well. And some really good news about finances. Through May of 2025, Minet is outperforming its budget by just over $79,000. So income, it continues to outpace expenses and doing so by greater than anticipated. And May's the time when you get some shut-offs, right? We get some turnover here, so that was good. And I received a grant from Polk County under federal pandemic relief to expand into both Rick Rial and South Dallas. So Dallas out towards the Falls City Highway. They have 110 active customers between Rick Rial and South Dallas. And we, because they were close enough, Falls City asked them about moving into Falls City, and they were able to do that. We already have 8 customers in Falls City. So that's pretty exciting. And they are busy retrofitting the trolleys. Chariots was installing new CAD equipment for the tracking and took out all of Minet's video equipment, closed circuit and security equipment. And so we've authorized them to put that back. So they're working on that. And interesting thing, we did have a power outage here in Monmouth because a poor squirrel decided to, kind of cause a triple art. So Minet went down. Minet's network operations center went down because of that. But alternately, we now have 3 separate paths bringing the rest of the world into the network operations center at Minet. One of those providers, they actually had an upstream outage because of a squirrel chew, just coincidentally. But it did not cause a single blip, right? Because now we have 3 complete redundancy in the Minet system. So back in the old days, if we lost that one, our upstream provider, but that has changed. So, and want to make sure you all get on your calendars. Thursday, August 21st will be the Minet Customer Appreciation Event, which if you have not attended that is always a really good time. They usually have some great food, lots of fun activities, and a chance for all of us in the community not only to go be appreciated for our support of Minet, but to appreciate the great staff at Minet too. So that's August 21st. That is all I have. So unless there were others, we did receive 2 board and commission appointments after our last meeting that I wanted to bring forward. Pam Sarah Wenz has applied for the Arts and Culture Commission, and Andrew Liner for the Tree Advisory Board. They both submitted great applications, both active in those fields, seem to be a good option for us to get them to join our boards and commissions. So I would ask for your.
I would move acceptance of those 2 applicants.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks. We'll let them know to get them on board. That's great. All right, and that brings us to our city manager's report. Rochelle Roden.
Thank you, Mayor. So I think the big news is with the passing of the budget last week, and I believe it was on Tuesday that it was passed. Included in that budget was 1.75 million for the trolley, of which $1 million is for operations and 750,000 is for equipment. So that has passed, and we will be receiving that funding. So we're very excited about that. And additionally, we had applied for several different projects in hopes to get capital project funding through the state. And we were awarded 1.4 million for the reuse project. And so our sewer water is processed and it's currently going to one field, and now we need to move it to another one. And so the 1.4 million will do transmission lines and all of that. And so the state will be helping us fund that. So we're very excited about those two things coming through. An update on trolley ridership. So recently, and the mayor alluded to it, that the Chariots had changed the CAD software, the tracking software within the trolleys, and so we got our first ridership numbers coming in for May, and over 14,300 rides were given on the trolley in May. So in the first year, it was around 10,000 a month. It bumped to about 11,000 a month in the second year, and now we're seeing 14,000 numbers. So that's very, very exciting. One thing to comment, Councilor Ridgway mentioned the pickleball tournament being rescheduled for July 18th. I just wanted to note that AJ Foscoli, who is the city manager of Falls City and a pickleball expert, will be there. He's going to be managing the tournament and also doing a training session. So if you don't know how to play pickleball, please show up and he'll help you get going through that. I'm sure you noticed this evening as you came in that the Warren Street overlay was completed. That was completed on Thursday and Friday of last week. Our city engineer took care of that and it went very flawlessly. So that's been great. I really don't have much more than that. The other thing is next week is the Oregon City County Managers Association conference in Bend. And so I'll be leaving Monday afternoon and then I'm there through Friday. So I'm available, but I'll be in Bend. And that's it.
Thank you for that. And that brings us to council comments and announcements. Besides all the fun stuff coming up for the 4th of July weekend. Very excited about all that. Councilor McKeel.
I just wanted to make a comment about the Juneteenth celebration that we had. It was amazing. Probably about 200 people that showed up. And I wasn't able to get there at the beginning. I got there about 7:30. It was supposed to last until 8. And at 8:30, there were still all kinds of parents and kids. And the atmosphere was like, let's party on Monmouth. So it was really great. And I just want to thank Adela at Luna's Cafe, who made it possible to cook the pork for the free pork sliders that we were able to give away. And I am actually more sad maybe that I didn't get to try out those pork sliders because I heard they were really good. But it was such a great event. The planning committee is very much interested in doing that again because I think it achieved everything that we wanted to have for our families and even more. So it was very good.
Okay.
So,
Joe? Yes.
Could I read the land acknowledgement?
Sure.
Or we finish? Oh, sorry.
No, that's
okay. Okay. We would like to acknowledge that indigenous tribes and bands have been on the lands here and throughout Oregon since time immemorial. It is not lost on us that the Willamette Treaty forcibly removed these peoples from their homelands in 1855 to 1856, the year that the city of Monmouth was founded. We recognize the pre-existing and continued sovereignty of the federally recognized tribes that are a vibrant part of this region today. The Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians, and thank them for sharing their perspective on how we might care for one another and the land so it can take care of us. We commit to engaging in a respectful and successful partnership as stewards of these lands.
All right. Anything else, or I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.
We've had some longer meetings until